What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Criterion Corner. This is a segment on my channel where I choose a film from the Criterion collection or that is streaming on the Criterion channel and talk about it in great detail. And this film I'm going to be discussing today is in the Criterion collection, and it is also streaming on the Criterion channel's streaming service, and that is the film Blood Simple from the Coen brothers. I am a huge Coen brothers fan. I've seen probably well over half their filmography, but this movie has always been a blind spot in their catalog for me. I've always really looked forward to checking this out and just kind of wanting to see what a movie early in their catalog would look like and kind of building up to the directors that they are now. And I'm excited to discuss this movie in detail with you today. Blood Simple is directed by the Coen brothers. The owner of a seedy small town Texas bar discovers that one of his employees is having an affair with his wife. A chaotic chain of misunderstanding, lies, and mischief ensues after he devises a plot to have them murdered. So I was super excited to watch this movie. Like I said, I am a huge fan of the Coen brothers. I think in this particular case, early in their career, I think this one is listed as just directed by Joel, but I know both of them wrote it and produced it and worked on it together. So I'm not sure if they just wanted to credit it to one or how much involvement they both had, but I know they both had a big part of working on this movie, and I was really curious to see what a film of theirs would look like this early on in their career, and I absolutely loved this movie. I think this is everything that makes the Coen brothers special as directors, um, but like stripped down to its most basic form. This film is filled with like unadulterated violence. It gets very brutal in moments. It has like subtle moments of their dark humor, not as heavy as later on in their career where they just kind of blow that up into the most absurdist thing imaginable. But I think what this film benefits from the most is its simplicity. It is a story that's really easy to immerse yourself into, and because the story is so easy to invest yourself into, the motivations of the characters and all of those things become really interesting to pick apart. And I'm excited to discuss the film with you a little bit today. So, the beginning of the movie, we are literally just dropped into a car between two characters having dialogue, and that's Ray, played by John Getz, and Abby, played by Frances McDormand. And the two of them are having this conversation. They end up going back to, I can't remember if it's his or her place, and they end up sleeping together. And we see someone is watching them, and that's Emmet Walsh's character, who is a private detective. He ends up going back and talking to Julian Marty, who everybody just refers to as Marty, played by Dan Hedaya, who is Ray's boss and Abby's wife, and which causes an entire blow up of Marty. He loses his mind. He seems like he's not completely surprised by it, but he's also infuriated, which eventually leads him to try to hire the private detective to kill them. He's essentially infuriated and wants them both taken out. And the entirety of the film is watching this series of circumstances after this private detective is hired to murder these two people, and what happens after he attempts to commit the murder. So, like I said, this movie is fantastic, and it's for every reason that I love the Coen brothers' filmography. For starters, the performances from top to bottom here are really great. They're very gritty and intense performances. Everybody sort of lives up to these characters in a way that it's believable. You sort of kind of lose the fact that these are actors doing a performance. They just feel like people, and I think that's what makes this movie work so incredibly well, is like this is a situation taking place in what feels like a very small community, at least in the areas that they're going back and forth to, which like makes it so much easier for you as a viewer to kind of drop yourself into the situation and feel these things in a really raw way. And that's what I love so much about the Coen brothers. I feel like they've been doing that their entire career, kind of creating these raw, gritty worlds, and the performances help that a lot. There's some great moments of like really intense dialogue between these characters, but there's also like some darkly comedic moments that the Coens are known for. There's just some really incredibly tense scenes that you just don't know what's going to happen next. And that's all attributed to the really fantastic performances. Cinematographically, this thing is up there with some of the best Coen work. I love the shadow play in this. It feels very noir-esque in moments, but it also can come across as like a horror movie in others. Just the way that tension is built, especially in some of the more violent moments. And even though there's not a lot of characters in this, the mystery and the intrigue of each and every scene just keeps you enthralled to what is going on. And there's some great moments. One in particular that takes place out in the middle of the desert in the evening that I just think are incredibly gripping. And that's a lot due to the cinematographer and some of the powerful images that are captured in this. I also adored the score to this movie. I thought that the music that they used, one of the tracks felt kind of repetitive, but I thought that it was so great. It just kept drawing you into the world where it just felt really hard to pull yourself out in any way, shape, or form. You just wanted to be invested and see what's happening. And what I really like is you have a woman who is being unfaithful to her husband because clearly she doesn't think that he's a great human, and she's with this guy who, for all intents and purposes, seems like a pretty good guy, but he starts to even question her because of things that Marty says, and then this private detective that's introduced. It really creates a fascinating dynamic between four characters, and there's more little characters that show up throughout the film that I thought did a really excellent job. Character Maurice, who works at the bar that Ray works at that's owned by Marty, he was an incredible addition into the movie. Like, even though he's not in it a ton, I feel like he adds a lot of personality and charisma. Just a lot of the scenes that happen at the bar that are much more populated with characters, they just give you a sense of the world and kind of draw you into this environment in a way that you don't want to remove yourself from. And it's a pretty short runtime for a Coen film. I think it's about an hour and 30 minutes, pushing an hour and 40, but I was never bored once. I was constantly on the edge of my seat. And this is one of those instances, like I was saying at the beginning of the review, where sometimes simplicity is better. You don't necessarily have to have the most convoluted, complex plot in order to make something successful. And I think a simple story of two people having an affair where the husband of the woman in the affair is trying to get them killed, you can take that and then just add all of these little things into there, which is exactly what the movie does to make it even more interesting. I thought the end was incredible. Like, the whole third act, very suspenseful, kept me on the edge of my seat. Really brilliant final series of shots too. Like, I thought it really made the film all that much more impactful. And I love the Coens. I think when they're working together, they're just unstoppable. They've had a very consistent career. I'd say they've had a couple of movies that aren't necessarily as great, but I feel like this is just another movie in addition to a great catalog that already exists, and definitely worth checking out if you've never seen something this early in their catalog. So have you seen Blood Simple? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was excellent. I loved it, and I can't wait to watch the other movies in the Coens catalog that I've never seen. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.